This
So I've been
conference
training
will now be
students.
recorded.
I've been training students in full stack Java, full stack Python. I also train students on data science and artificial intelligence. So today, as you are here to work it on the basic programming of Python. Okay. So first, initially, always remember we will start with the basics of programming only. Okay, so your course is like full stack Java. So today we will be going first. It is like a demo come class. Okay, so Darshita and Lakshmi, I I want you to look at this class not as a demo, but it is like demo come class. Okay, so programming in Python. So we will be looking at uh, the things here like demo come class. Okay, so demo come first class. So you can think in that way. So basically, whenever we start any programming or anything, so we try to start with the program definition. Okay, so program means a set of instructions along with the data. So what is a program here? So a program is a set of instructions along with the data. Okay, so set of instructions along with the data considered as input. Considered as input. So whenever I write about any thing such as a program, so a program is a set of instructions along with the data considered as input that are to be processed to give the output. So there are give the output. So what exactly we are going to talk about here? So we are trying to talk about a program where a programmer will give the set of instructions along with the data which we consider as input. So which we consider as input. So instructions along with the data. Instructions along with the data which are to be processed, as I'm telling you, which are to be processed. So we are going to process the data. Okay, so process the data and we are going to give the output. So we are going to give the output. So what exactly we are trying to talk about here? So we are trying to say that we are applying the logic. Okay, so here we are applying the logic and that logic is applied to give the output. So basically, if I'm saying add 4 comma 3, okay, so add 4 comma 3, here you are going to work with 4 and 3, and that 4 and 3 will give you, so that 4 and 3 will give you 7. So this 7 is nothing but the information. Okay, so in this way you are going to work with the things. Okay, so today what we will do is, so today we will be understanding about some of the very important features of Python programming. Okay, so features of Python programming. So these features of Python programming are very, very important. So why? Because we need to understand the program power. Okay, so in order to understand the power of the programming, so we need to understand the features of the Python programming. Okay, so features of the Python programming. So first one always is simple and easy to understand. Okay, it is simple and easy to understand. So whenever somebody is talking about Python programming, so the first thing they'll talk about is it is very easy and it is very simple to understand. So whenever somebody is talking about this Python programming, so they will say it is simple and very easy to understand. So how it is simple and how it is easy to understand, we will try to look at uh, by having a difference. Okay, so by having a difference between Python and Java programming. Okay, so Python and Java programming. Okay, so Python and Java. Okay, so we will try and understand the difference of Python programming versus Java versus the Java program. Okay. Now I will take a simple program of two numbers. Okay, so addition of two numbers. So whenever I want to write a program in Python or program in Java, so I need to use some syntax and semantics. Okay, so syntax and semantics. So whenever I'm trying to talk or when I'm trying to deal with Python program, so I'm taking a scenario like addition of two numbers. So I want to add two numbers over here. So something like a is equal to 5 and something like b is equal to 3. Okay, and then simply I'll say print of a plus b. Okay, so print of a plus b. So what is print here? So what are the different components we will understand? So a is known as a variable. So a is known as a variable. Okay, so a is known as a variable, is equal to is known as a very simple to understand. Okay, so is equal to is known as the assignment operator. So assignment operator. So is equal to is going to be assignment operator. And here, so 5 comma 3 are going to be the data values. Okay, so 5 and 3 are going to be the data values. Okay, so a is equal to 5, b is equal to 3. So a is known as a variable. Okay, so a comma b are said to be variables. So what are variables and all we will try and understand later. So for now you can write them as like memory area. Okay, so memory area. So memory area which is holding 5 and 3 values, which is holding 5 and 3 values. Okay, so again here print is known as a function. Print is known as a function. Okay, so print is known as a function. So what is a function? That perform task. Okay, so what is a function here? The function which will perform a task. Okay, so perform a task. And a plus b. So a plus b is nothing but plus here. Plus is known as an operator. So plus is known as an operator. So now these are the minimum components for writing this program. Okay, so it is very very simple to understand. So here I am giving you some program components. Okay, so these are what program components. Okay, so these are program components. So in order to understand the first program, it is not a very tough job. Okay, so it is not a very tough job because it is simple like mathematics. Okay, so 5 allocated to a, 3 allocated to b, a plus b is printed. Okay, so a comma b are the variables which are also the memory areas. Okay, so equal to is the assignment operator. Okay, assignment operator. Okay, so 5 comma 3 are the data values. Okay, so print is nothing but the function that will perform the task. So plus is known as the operator. So this is the way that we are going to look at this program. Okay, these are the minimum components required for every program, and these are very simple to understand, simple mathematical ideology. So we are not going to do any big things here. So we are going to have some mathematical terminologies. Okay, so a comma b equal to 5 comma 3, and this is programming terminology, of course. Okay, so these are the things that we have in Python program. So if you understand or if you look at this program, it is very simple. Okay, so how to do this program, where to write this program, and how to get the output and all, I'll tell you. You don't have to worry. So now the same program if I write in Java, okay, I need to take care of so many components here. One component, two component, three components, four component, and five components over. But here we will talk about. So, for example, I have to write the same program. So I will say public class addition program. Okay, so public class addition. This is Java. So this is not Python. So this is Java. So I'm explaining you how simple it is to develop programs in Python. Okay, so program in Python. So the same thing if you write in Java. So if you see here, so I need to take again something like public void add method, something like this. Okay, and then I need to go for, okay, so I need to say int a is equal to 5 comma b is equal to 3. So believe me, I'm writing minimum steps. Okay, so minimum steps. So system dot out dot print ln. Okay, so print ln, and I'm going to say a plus b. Okay, and then I will write public static void main. So this is only for a simple program, mind you. Okay, so args, and then I will write, okay, so args, and I will write here, uh, I'll write here add pro ap is equal to new add pro, and then I will say ap dot add method. So these are the steps you write. Okay, so these are the steps, or these are the programming lines that you write for doing this simple operation. Okay, so the simple operation is here. So println is a method, system is going to be a class, add pro is going to be a class, this is going to be a method, this is going to be a data. So there are various terminologies. Okay, so you need to understand. Okay, so why we say that it is simple and easy to understand, because it is quite readable. Okay, it is quite readable. So this is, you're understanding the English words here. So you are understanding the English words, but everything is having different concept here. Okay, so you have to write everything in a class, and in the class you need to have some functions, and you need to have some types of the data. So again, you need to call this, so many logics are required. So to write a simple program, we need so many understand so much of understanding. Okay, so we need so much of understanding, so which is dangerous for a programmer to go in like future stages. Okay, so that is why Python makes the job easy. Now, for example, if I write, okay, so if I take a complex program, so if I take a complex program, so in which there are like 500 lines. So I'm taking a small complex program. There are 500 lines. The same program here can be written. So now here, if you observe, it is one line, two line, and three line. And this is like one line. I'm not even considering this. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay. So three lines to seven lines. Okay. So more than 50%. Okay. More than 50% means, so here at least there will be 1000 plus lines. Okay, so more than 50%, just I'm taking this ratio, so it is like more than 50%. Okay, so more than 50%. So that is why we say that uh, we say that uh, Python is simple and easy to understand. So Python programs are simple and very easy to understand, very easy to understand, very easy to understand, as they do not have, they do not need, they do not need uh, understanding of understanding of the program components, understanding of the program components. Okay, so they do not need understand the program components. Okay, before developing the program, so you don't need to have any idea, like now simply I can write this. So before writing the program, you don't require any knowledge. So anyhow, after writing the program, you will understand. So before writing the program, so they do not need any understanding of the program components before developing the program. Okay, before developing the program. Okay, so in contrast, Java needs the understanding of its components before the before the program development. So that is what the point here. Okay, so whenever we are talking about Python program here, okay, so whenever we are talking about the program here, so we are talking about the Python program versus the Java program. So Python program just 3 lines of code, and Java program more than 50% of the Python program. And one more thing here, you don't have to clearly understand this. Just I made a note for our information, but I don't require this also. If I just know the knowledge of mathematics, I can just simply understand. Okay, so the only thing that I need to know is how to display this value. Okay, so that's the only thing I should know. But here I should know how to display, I should know how to declare, and I should know how to write the logic, and I should know how to work with the method. So all these kind of things are very much important when you are writing a Python program. Oh, sorry, when you're writing a Java program. So that is why the first point is like it is simple and easy to understand. Okay. So whenever I discuss this point, so people generally ask me. So okay, sir, Java, you are saying that it is easy and simple to understand, but what about the best features of Java? Will they be carried out, or will they be carried in by Python, or Python will have the best features of Java that will be making Java unique and also definitely yes. Okay, so Python will follow some uh, features of Java. Okay, so Python will follow some features of Java. Okay, so means it will go like hand in hand. Okay, so it is not like it is a short programming language, so it does not have all the effects of Java. It is not like that. Okay, so it will follow some of the features of Java, like the first one, very important, object oriented programming. So object oriented programming. So we are talking about what? So we are talking about object oriented programming. Okay, so Python will follow some of the best features of Java also, not only Java. So this object oriented programming feature is very important for all the programming languages which will work on the objects. Okay, so what I'm trying to say at the end of the day here is the programming language that is completely developed on the basis of two program entities called a class and an object. So when your programming language is developed on these two basic fundamental units, of programming, which are class and object. Okay, now here if you see, this is known as the object. Okay, so this is known as the object, and if you observe here, this is known as the class. Okay, so when you have any programming language developed on the basis of class and object. Okay, so developed on the basis of class and object. So if we have a programming language which is totally based on these two concepts. Okay, so these two concepts, what are they? A class and the object. Okay, so class and the object. So we call it as object oriented programming language. So now the next question that comes into your mind is, so here you did not do any class or any object, then how you are saying Python is object oriented? Now let me tell you one thing here. 5 is an object. Okay, 3 is an object. So 5 is an object and 3 is also an object. And this plus, okay, so plus and all, we generally say operators. So everything what are you looking at is totally based on the objects. Now objects are assigned, objects are added. Yeah, any doubts, any questions, anyone? Objects are added, objects are assigned. So this is also totally based on the object oriented programming. Okay, so totally based on the classes and objects. So here we are explicitly creating. Okay, so this is known as explicit creation. Okay, so this is known as explicit creation. Okay, so explicitly you are creating. So here internally the concept is available. Internally the concept is available. Okay, so let me not go into the tougher things. So let me talk about in common. So what is a class and what is an object? So let's discuss what is a class. Okay. So class is a concept, okay, or I can say a class is a logical entity. A class is a logical entity. So whenever I'm saying about, or whenever I'm talking about a class, so class is a logical entity. So logical entity. Now, for example, okay. So here, okay, let me just talk about this and then we will go with the examples. Point is that, and coming to the second point. So next point is, a class is a logical entity. An entity refers to a person, comma, place, comma, thing, or an event. Okay, so entity refers to a person, entity refers to a place, entity refers to a thing, and entity refers to an event. So what exactly we are trying to talk about? Okay, so we are trying to talk about a class, where a class refers to what? A class refers to a logical entity. So what is an entity here? Entity refers to a person, entity refers to a place, entity refers to a thing, entity refers to an event. Okay, let me give you a common real life examples where we try to create persons and all. So, okay, now I am working for a, for example, I am working for a employee management project. Okay, I am working for a employee management product. Okay, so project, sorry. So in this employee management project, so I will be creating employee class. Okay, I will be creating employee class. So now employee is what? Employee is a person. Employee is a person. Okay, so now let's say place. So now I am going to create a class called, okay, so I'm going to create a class called, okay, so place we said, right? So I'm going to create a class called company. So what is company here? Company is a place. Okay. Now this company is manufacturing products. Okay, so this company is manufacturing products. And then there is one more thing called event. So what is event again? So this product is going to be sold. So sales is an event, product is a thing, company is a place, person is a employee. So now as a programmer, so you create employee class, company class, product class, sales class. Okay, so what is your responsibility? Your responsibility is to create these four classes. Your responsibility is to create these four classes. So class is logical. Logical in the sense it is virtual. Okay, so it is virtual. Now for example, you are having a so we are having a meeting. Okay, so we are virtually connected to each other. Okay, so virtually connected to each other because it is an online class. So it is an online class, so we are virtually connected. So if it is an offline class, if it is an offline class, we are physically connected. Okay, so we are physically connected. So we are now virtually connected. So this virtual connection is nothing but logical. It is not real. It is not real. Okay, so it is not real, but it is like the basis for developing the real ones. Okay, so basis for the development of the real one. So that's the point here. Okay, so online class is a virtual classroom, offline class is a physical classroom. So that's a major difference that you observe when you are looking at the class. So what is a class here? Class is a logical entity, so where an entity is referring to a person, place, thing, or an event. So suppose you are working in employee management system project. Okay, so you are working with an employee management system project. You are creating an employee class, which is person class. So you are creating a company class, which is a place class. You are creating a product class, which is a thing class. You are creating a sales class, so which is an event class. So in this way, you are going to take up the things. Okay, so you are going to take up the things. So this is how we develop a class. Okay, so a class which is known as the logical entity. Okay, so logical entity. Okay, now you need a physical structure for this. Okay, so that physical structure we call it as the object. But before going to the object, let us understand what exactly I'm talking about. Okay, so a class is said to be said to be a blueprint. Said to be a blueprint. So a class is said to be a blueprint. Okay, so a class is said to be a blueprint for, okay, so a class is said to be a blueprint for creating the objects. Okay, class is said to be what? A class is said to be a blueprint for creating the object. So whenever you are talking about a class, so what is a class called as? So class is called as a blueprint. Class is called as a blueprint for creating the objects. Okay, class is called as a blueprint for creating the objects. So as I've told you, these are logical, these are virtual. So we need some physical entities to show them. Now, for example, here I said this is a class and this is an object. So this object is physical means this object is a physical means to work with that class, to work with that class. So that's the point here. Okay, so that's the point we need to understand. So whenever I'm talking about a class is a blueprint for creating the objects. Okay, so creating the objects. So now let's understand what exactly an object is going to be. So an object is said to be an instance. Okay, so object is said to be an instance. Okay, otherwise I'll say object is a physical entity. An object is a physical entity. So what is an object here? Object is a physical entity. So an object is a physical entity. Point number two. An object is said to be an instance. Said to be an instance of the class. Instance of the class. Okay, now for example, I'll take the same thing here. So I'm going to create an employee management system project. Okay, so I'm working with an employee management system project, let's say. So employee management system project has created four classes: employee class, and created company class, and created product class. Okay, so and created the sales class. So representing person, place, uh, representing person, place, a thing, and an event. Okay, so these are all classes. Okay, so these are all classes basically. Okay, so these are all classes. Okay, now I have to create the object here. Okay, so I have to create the object. So now I will say something like E1 is equal to employee. Okay, so E1 is equal to employee. So who is employee here? Employee is the object. So what we can do with this E1 and all, we'll see later. For now, understand that. So this is going to be the object. Okay, so you are going to create the object. Object of which class? Employee class. Object of the employee class. And here what you are going to create? You are going to create company class. Okay, so you're going to create the company class. Okay, so company class. So here what you're going to create? Here you are going to create. Okay, so P1 is equal to product. Okay, so product. So like this you can say C2 is equal to company, C3 is equal to company. So again E2 is equal to employee, again E3 is equal to employee. Okay, so P2 is equal to product, P2 is equal to product. So like this you can create any number of objects, any number of objects, any number of objects. Now for example, I'll tell you in simple words. Now if I ask you a simple question, okay, so if I ask you a simple question, something like who are you? Okay, you will tell me. I'm sorry. If I ask you a simple question, you'll tell me I am a student. Okay, and if you ask me the same question, I'll say I'm a trainer. Okay, means what you're trying to tell me, you're trying to tell me that I belong to a class. Okay, so I belong to a class called student. So you are saying me, I belong to a class called student. I belong to a class called student. So who are you? So Rahul. So who is Rahul? Let's example I'm saying. So Rahul. So Rahul is a object. Okay, so Rahul is an object of class student. So Rahul is an object of class student. Now, for example, trainer. Okay, so trainer belongs to a class, or else I should say trainer is a class. Now, you will say you belong. So you belong to a class called trainer. So you belong to a class called trainer. Okay, so now my name is like you can say Viru. So Viru is uh, a object. Okay, so he is an object who is belonging to the class called trainer. Okay, so he is belonging to the class called trainer. So what is the idea over here? So the idea over here is to create an object. Okay, so idea is to create an object from the existing class. Okay, so whatever you take up in life, for everything, okay, so for everything you will have a class. Okay, now for example, you are watching your mobile. Okay, so mobile is a class. Okay, so mobile is a class. Now for example, you are holding some Samsung machine. Okay, so Samsung phone. So Samsung is a mobile. Samsung is a mobile. Okay, so Lenovo. So Lenovo is a laptop. Okay, so Lenovo is a laptop. So Lenovo belongs to a laptop class. Samsung belongs to mobile class. So for everything in the world, we will have class and object. Okay, always remember that. So everything in the world will have class and object. So whenever I'm talking about a class here, always remember you are talking about a logical entity. You're talking about a logical entity. So whenever you're talking about the object, always remember we are talking about the physical entity. We are talking about physical entity. So it's all about having the logical entities and having the physical entities basically. Okay, so logical entities and the physical entities. Okay, so we create logical entities and we also create the physical entities out of that out of that classes. Okay, so now as I've told you, 5 and 3 are also object. 5 is an integer object, 3 is an integer object. So here you are directly assigning, so here they will be assigned internally. Okay, so that's also one of the difference basically. So that is why we say Python is an object oriented programming language, because okay, so now we can say that a Python is okay. Okay, otherwise I'll tell you in the above example of addition of two numbers addition of two numbers, we see that okay, so what we see basically, we see a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3. Okay, so here 5 is an object. 5 is an object of int class. Okay, so and 3 is 3 is also an object of, so 3 is also an object of int class. So now what we observe here? So we observe that 5 and 3 are the objects. Okay, so 5 and 3 are the objects of the int class. Okay, so objects of the int class. Okay, so like this we have many classes to work out with. So we will do that. Okay, so that is why we say that so Python is also totally belonging to the class and the objects. Okay, so class and the object. So whatever we have in Python program, everything we consider as classes and objects. Everything we consider as classes and objects. Okay, so that's what the basic idea here going to be. So whenever we are trying to deal with the classes and objects in any programming language for that matter, not only Python, in any programming language, we say that it is object oriented programming language. Okay, so to give you a clear idea what is a class, once again, class is a logical entity. Okay, take up a scenario where you are working on an employee management system. So in that employee management system, so you are working with employee class, company class, product class, sales class. Okay, so this employee needs some objects to work with. So company needs some objects to work with. Product needs some object to work with. So sales requires some object to work with. Okay, so that class is responsible for creating the object. So where we say object is a physical entity. Object is a physical entity, and we also call it as the instance of the class. Okay, so we also call it as the instance of the class. So here we are creating an employee object. Okay, so employee object from the employee class. So company object from the company class, product object from the product class. So in this way we are working with the things. Okay, so so in the above example, as I've told you, we are having the objects. Okay, so there are simple objects. We will know much more about the other objects and all later. Okay, so in addition to the class and the object, in addition to the class and the object, the object oriented programming language, OP means object oriented programming language. So in addition to the class and the object oriented programming language, okay, so object oriented programming language must also follow the principles of OOP. So principles of OOP. So what are the principles of OOP here? Inheritance. Okay, so we have inheritance. So we have polymorphism. Okay, so we have abstraction and we have encapsulation. Okay, so we have encapsulation. Okay, so what are the two base things? The two base things are going to be class and object. Okay, so the two base things are going to be class and object, and these are going to be the pillars. So they are going to be the pillars. So what are the pillars, or what are the principles? So we have something like inheritance. So on this base only, we will talk about all the other things. Okay, so we have something like polymorphism. Okay, so we don't have to work with those things right now, so we will learn them later clearly. Abstraction and encapsulation. Abstraction and encapsulation. Okay, so in this way, you are going to deal with the object-oriented program. So the first thing that we understood was Python is simple and easy to understand. So when I said Python was simple and easy to understand, what was my intention to make you understand? My intention was to make you understand about how we can easily code, and when you compare it with other programming languages like Java, so Java requires at least 7 lines to write this simple code. Java requires at least 7 lines. So in that 7 lines, also you should know now what is public, what is class, what is void. Okay, so what is system, what is out, what is this println, again what is this main, what is this string. So you need to have a complete idea of the thing. So that is why before writing, so I always say Python is like develop and understand. Okay, so Python is like develop and understand. Okay, so Python, you first develop the program, then you understand the things. Okay, so then what about Java? What about Java? I can say, so I can say Java is understand and develop style of language. Okay, so Java is understand and develop style of language. Okay, so Python is like develop and understanding style. Okay, so Java is understand and develop style. Okay, so so this is like du and this is like ud. So according to my view, so Python is like you develop the program first and then you understand it later. Okay, so Java is like you understand the program first, understand the components, and then only you can develop. So then only you can develop. Okay, so that's the way that we look at. So that's the way that we look at the program uh, logic for the Python and Java, and which is making your programming very simple. And next thing I told you is about uh, the features. Okay, so now people will ask me, so this simple programming, will it have the strength to become one of the most popular languages? So the answer is yes. Okay, so how the answer is yes? Because it has the features like OOP. Okay, so from the next session we will be looking at some more features, like we have more and more features to deal with, so we will be looking at that. But first, OOP. What was OOP? OOP is nothing but a programming language which is developed on the basis of a class and an object. So whenever I talk about a class, so class I always refer to a logical entity. Okay, so logical entity. So where an entity refers to a person, place, thing, or an event. Okay, so person, place, thing, or an event. Okay, so where we talk about employee management project. So in an employee management project, so we are looking at creating various classes. Okay, creating various classes, creating various logical entities. Okay, so logical entities in the sense which are not physical, so which are virtually present. So which are virtually present, and we are creating. Okay, so you take a bank project. So bank project again. So you have customers. Okay, so you have loan. Okay, so you have something like mortgage. Okay, so these kind of things. So all the realistic things will come into the picture basically. Okay, so that is what happens in the real world also. Okay, so you will have so many classes to create. Okay, so you'll have so many classes to create. So in Python also we can explicitly create the class. Right now it is not required. So later I'll show you how can we create a class in Python. But for now you are using the classes which are already available. Okay, so that way uh, you are working with class and you're working with an object. So object is a physical entity. Okay, and it is said to be the instance of the class, employee class. So you are creating the object in this way and assigning it. So like something like you said a is equal to 5. So 5 is what? 5 is an integer object. Okay, in the same way employee is an employee object stored in E1, stored in E1. Okay, so stored in E1. So company object stored in C2, product object stored in P1, P2, P3 and all. So this is all about the class and the object, and this concept is not over yet. Okay, so I just gave you an introduction of this class and object. Later on we will be creating ourselves. So what is a class, what is an object and all. So and along with that we have the concepts of inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction and encapsulation to follow. Okay, so these are the things for today's session. So tomorrow we will be working out with some more things, some more features. Okay, some more important things about the program. Okay, so hope everyone understood. Lakshmi, Darshita, Srikar, and somebody else. I don't know. The name is not flashing up here. Yeah. Anyone, any doubts, any questions? They can ask me right now. Yeah. Slowly and steadily, we will be moving forward. Okay. Okay, then thank you. Thank you so much. We will meet in our next session with much more discussion. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.